Started the topic that is defect in crystals. As I told, none of the crystals are defect free. Each and every crystals we have are having defects. So this is today's topic is line defect or linear defect, right? You can see this is a diagram. I have shown you. This is exactly what the front face of a crystal. Right? Crystals means lot of atomic planes will be there. Already we have discussed about line, direction, planes, right? So you can imagine this is one atomic plane, and this and like this lot of atomic planes are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That means atoms will be here like this. You will be having atoms, right? And you can show only the front face. That means behind that atoms will be also arranged, right? Suppose, can I have a notebook? So this is the thing right now you have. This is one atomic plane, right? So this is another atomic plane. So atoms will be, you can only see these atoms, front atoms. But that means atoms will be also here, here and here. Lot of like atomic planes will be also like this, in this direction, right? You can only see this face, right? But now a situation comes when, suppose this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. So the situation comes when half of the atoms are now missing. Just have a look. In this particular plane, suppose 5. 5, okay, 5. So this in this plane, atomic plane, half of the atoms are now missing, right? So that part I can say what exactly this is. Missing half plane. And this is, you can call as extra. See, either you can call this as extra half plane of atom, or you can call this as missing half plane of atom, right? This is a situation. I can draw like this otherwise. So now suppose this is the situation, and the situation will be like this. But first of all, you understand this one, then I will tell you later what exactly it is. So you can understand that means this is looking like a line, right? And this is a half extra plane of atom. So this is called dislocation. So dislocation means it is extra half plane of atom, simply, right? So when there will be extra half plane of atom, and the half will be missing, obviously, this will be the situation. So one half is missing, one half will be there, right? Suppose it want to move. This half plane want to move in this direction. So how it can move if you apply a shear stress, right? Shear stress means in this direction it will be like this, and in this direction it will be like this. Shear, right? So it want to move in this direction. So what will happen? This will move to this one, and this part will like it will be like this. That means, so at the end what will happen? This one will move here. That means now you will be having a half plane of atom here, and finally you will having a half plane of atom here, and finally it will come out. At the end this will come out like this. Finally, this will come out to the surface, and it will form a state kind of thing. You can see this is a state. Right? Okay, in a better way I can explain again. Suppose just look. This is. Can you see a dislocation now? Which one is the dislocation? You can say this one. This is your extra half plane of atom, right? You can see all the atomic planes are complete right now, right? But this one is incomplete. So this is what I can say. This one is missing half plane of atoms, and this is extra. I will take this class again through online so that I can show you some videos and picture. It will be more clear because this part is like somewhat difficult. If you go through the textbook also, you will not get what is dislocation. You will get confused again. Right? You understood? That means whenever I am talking about dislocations, means there will be an extra half plane of atom and another half will be missing. So situation may be different. Right? Suppose this is one part. Can you think why this is like this? Why this plane, atomic plane is like this? Why they are not parallel? Very good. Because the half plane of atom is missing. Suppose this is complete one. So what will happen? This will be straight. Right? This will be straight now. But if this will be missing, and this will become like this. Why? Because atom is missing. So atoms has to maintain an equilibrium distance. So they will come close. So that means so now the atoms in this area will be in what? Tension or compression? Tension. Very good. So it will be in tension. A strain field will generate automatically in the crystal, and that strain field is tension strain field, right? And what about this one? What is the field over here? This is extra. Something extra is present, so it will push. It will definitely push. It is extra, right? So that means it will be in compression. So you have to remember. So whenever there will be a dislocation, that means an extra half plane of atom will be present. So top part will become compression field, but bottom part will become tension field. Right? So this will be compression. Right? So this part is clear, I think, right? And so people say, some people say no, this extra half plane of atom is not a dislocation actually. What exactly dislocation is? This area is actually, you can see the disturbed region. Which area is the disturbed? This area is the disturbed region actually, where the half plane of atom is ending. Listen carefully. Where the half plane of atom is ending, you can see up to this part. This part is straight line, right? Yes or no? This I am considering these two parts. These are also straight lines. Just have a look. If I will consider this part, this bottom part, all are straight, nothing is, there is no defect such, right? And if you consider this part also, top part, this top part and this bottom part, can you see any defects? All are straight again, right? So something is different in this region. Yes or no? You understand my point? If I will suppose, sorry. Now just have a look, the top part. Any difference? Is there no difference? All are same, right? Make it straight somewhat. Everything is fine. Similarly, if I just have a look at the bottom part, everything is fine. Yes or no? Everything is fine, right? But if you close this one and this one, the disturbed region is this part. Atoms are coming close, right? So this part is actually the real defect. The defect region is this one, right? These are atomic planes, so that means atoms, suppose atoms are arranged in this direction. Atomic planes are not exactly like this. Atomic planes are not exactly like this. Atoms are suppose atomic planes are like this. Like this. This way. You understand my point? This way. Right. So that means at these positions atomic planes will be in this direction. Right? You understand my point? So this is what? This is called dislocation line. You're right. Dislocation line. And this part will looks like if you just give an imagination how this part will be look like. It will be a tunnel. Yes or no? This will be kind of tunnel going inside and in a straight line. Yes or no? Because the atoms are behind. Right? Atoms will be behind like this and something is disturbed. And you can see a tunnel inside that. Huh? So this is like that means these are nothing but the atoms present over here. Right? These are nothing but the atoms. You understand my point? These are atoms. Huh? Right? So since this is a line, so we call this is a line defect. That's why. Where the half plane of atom is getting ended, you can see a line of atoms is present. Right? So that's why it is called dislocation line, and the defect is called line defect or linear defect. Okay? So similarly, you can have an extra half plane of atom at the bottom. Top part will be missing. Just suppose it. Let me erase it. You are drawing like this. Okay, suppose this is extra. Now which one is the extra half plane of atom? This one. This one, right? Extra half plane of atom. And this is missing half. Right? See, that means which part is in tension, which part is in compression now. This part, this is extra, so this will push. Right, so this part will be, sorry, not exactly, here this part will be in compression. A compression strain field will be present, and this part, atoms are closed, so this will be in tension. So in the real situation, what happens due to presence of this kind of field, tension field or compression field, that will interact with the solute atoms present over here. If you remember, we talk about interstitial solid solutions, substitutional solid solutions, right? When they are present, they produce a strain. You remember? Right? When there will be a solute atom, it will produce a strain field. When there will be a any bigger atoms, like it will also create a strain field. That strain field will interact with this strain field. So what happens if there will be interaction of strain field of that and this one? This dislocation cannot move, right? Due to interaction of the strain field. If dislocation cannot move, plastic deformation will not occur. So that is the main important part, right? You want to convert, suppose you want to convert this much of thickness plate into, suppose, this much of thickness. This much of thickness to this much of thickness plate. This is a metallic material, alloy for example. What is happening is thickness will reduce, this will get elongated, obviously, right? So if you want to reduce the thickness, you have to do plastic deformation, permanent, that is permanent deformation, we remember from the stress strain curve, right? That means yield will occur, right? So if this becomes this has to move inside the material. That half atomic plane has to move from one distance to another distance, and it will come out from the surface, right? So that means lot of half plane of atom will be there in the materials, and you are applying a shear stress and it is coming out. So in this way, finally it will become thinner and thinner and thinner, right? So in another way, if this dislocation, this half plane of atom is not moving, there is some hindrance. So what is happening? The strength is increasing. If dislocation move easily in a material, that is ductility. More easily the dislocation move, more ductility the material have, right? But if dislocation cannot move easily, that means it is having high strength. So strength is coming due to one example I have given you. If you remember, you take a iron, pure iron, and you take a plain carbon steel. You measure the strength, where the strength will be high. In case of plain carbon steel, right? Steel have higher strength compared to pure iron. Pure iron is ductile and steel is some less ductile if you compare it relatively, right? Why this is happening? The answer is simple, because in pure iron there is no carbon atoms. So there is no strength field, right? There is no strength field. But in case of steel, you have iron plus carbon, and carbon is going into the octahedral voids or the interstitial sites. When it will go into a site, it will create a distortion. You remember, right? It pushes the iron atoms. A strength field will generate, and that strength field will interact with the strength field, tension and compression strength field. So it will not move. It will move if you apply more stress. So higher is the stress, higher is the strength, right? If dislocation need higher stress to move, that means the material have higher strength. But if dislocation need a very low stress to move, it is ductile, right? So this is very simple. Somebody will ask, suppose you want to increase the strength of any alloy or any metallic materials. So what can be done? The simple answer is, make the you do something so that dislocation cannot move easily, right? You create hindrance to the motion of dislocation, right? So again I am saying, if dislocation can move easily in a material, the material is highly ductile, right? But if dislocation cannot move easily, the material is having high strength. So one mechanism is called solid solution strengthening. You understood how solid solution strengthening is happening? Can you elaborate it? By making a solid solution, right? Either you make interstitial solid solution or you make substitutional solid solutions. Both atoms will do what? It will create strength field around the lattice of the parent solvent lattice, right? Solvent lattice will get distorted and it will create a strength field, and that strength field interacts with this one, the strength field of the dislocation, extra half plane of atom. So it cannot move easily. You have to apply more stress to make it move, right? And if somebody will ask how plastic deformation is happening, because of motion of dislocation. If dislocation is moving, your plastic deformation is happening, or permanent deformation is happening. If somebody will ask how elastic deformation is happening, how you can explain? Plastic deformation, you understand. The dislocation is moving and coming out from the crystal onto the surface, right? So what is exactly happening? The bond length will only increase. If you release the load, it will come back again to the original positions, right? So in elastic deformation, bond length will only increase, right? There is no breakage of bond. But in plastic deformation, the bond will break completely and the extra half plane of atom will move one by one, right? But in elastic deformation, if you release the load, again it will come back to its original shape. In permanent deformation, there will be a permanent change in shape. The thickness will reduce, right? The thickness of the material will reduce. But in elastic deformation, there will be no reduction in the thickness of the material. Because once you release the load, again the material will come back to its original shape. The dimension will not change, right? So what is happening? Bond length will only increase. So these are two atoms. You are pulling. So bond length will increase. If you release the load, it will come back to the original positions. But elastic deformation means the bond was completely broken down, and if this is the final position of the atoms, it will remain. The atom will not come back to its original position. It will go, right? And this mechanism is called slip mechanism. If you remember, I told about slip systems. More is the slip systems, higher is the ductility, right? In case of FCC materials, why FCC materials are ductile? Like copper is ductile, gold is ductile, right? Aluminum is ductile because they have more number of slip systems. So slip system means there is a slip. Slip means what? Suppose this is one atomic plane, this is another atomic plane. This will get slip. Just have a look. This is the thickness, initial thickness of the material. This much, right? And slip is happening. So you can see what is happening. The thickness has reduced to this much, right? But there is an elongation. Total elongation is here to here, right? But initial elongation was here to here only, my hand distance. Now this is the elongation. So that means suppose a dislocation is present over here, right? It is moving. You can see the dislocations are moving. This is the dislocation. It is moving. You can see. The stress is like this. It will be like this, and in this direction it will be like this. This is called shear stress. There is a shear. Tensile stress is how? How to represent a tensile stress? Can you tell me? Suppose this is a material. This is a material. How to show tensile stress? This is tensile stress. You are pulling just. You can make it fixed. You pull it in one direction. That is called uniaxial tension. And this is biaxial. You are pulling it, right? Basically, actually, this is uniaxial. Suppose biaxial may be like this. Right? This is biaxial. This is tensile. Right? This is tensile. If this will be uniaxial, what will happen? This will get reduced. This will get elongated. Right? In this direction, elongation will take place. This direction, compression or contraction will take place. Right? This will become thinner and thinner, and this will get elongated. Right? This is tensile or tensile load, you can say. And compression is very simple. Again, if somebody will ask how you show me the compressive load, just oppose it. This is compression or compressive load. That one is tensile, this one is compressive. You keep it fixed, you push it. So what will happen? Elongation will take place in this direction. Contraction will take place in this direction. Simple. Right? And if somebody will ask how shear will be there. Shear, how you can represent the shear? Shear will be so in the real situations in the material, when we are deforming the metal plastically, there is a shear of the material. Material is getting sheared. So what will happen? It will become shear means finally it will become like this. This much of elongation will take place. More you shear, more thinner it will become, and it will become more elongated. Right? So this is shear. This is represented by tau. Tau. This is called shear stress, and sigma we represent tensile stress by sigma. Basically. Anyway. I'll show you another image. This is half. This is the result. Suppose initially you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the initial diagrams, for example. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 7 atomic. I am showing 7 atomic planes. Fine. And suppose you do a shear stress is acting on this lattice or on this crystal, right? So suppose in this direction, just a minute, I'm writing tau. Right? And suppose there is a bond breakage now. The bond is getting break, right? So just have a look. What is the situation? This is initially a complete plane of atom, right? Due to breakage of bond at the center, what is happening? This is moving to this. You can see this one was initially present over here. I am showing a dot out here, right? This one was initially here, right? Due to shear on it. You can see shear is happening in this direction and in this direction, right? So this is moving to this. So this will get attached to this one. So what happened to this half? It will move to this one, right? Same thing happens. So it is attaching to the bottom and it is attaching to the bottom, but one atomic plane will again come hang like this, right? So this is one dislocation and this is one dislocation. Further we apply stress, what will happen? Further, suppose this bond will get break. So this will be attached to this one, this will attach to this one, and finally it will come out. Finally it will be having like this, and this half will be this one. It will come out. So this is moving actually. You understood my point? Initially all are, you can see all are complete atomic planes. Due to application of shear on this crystal, bond, there is the bond will break and creation of an extra half plane of atom will be there and it will move and it will come out from the surface. How it will move means you are applying a stress. See, you are applying a stress. A stress is acting on the material. So obviously, when you apply, suppose you are applying a tensile stress, fine, in the tension test, right? So what will happen? You are applying a tensile stress, but inside the material there will be some plane where this kind of shear stress will be acting. Actually, in the real situation, we are not applying shear stress. Basically, we are applying tensile stress or we are applying compressive stress. But you know the stress will get like, suppose you are applying a load on the materials. The load of the materials will not remain same. It gets what? There is a division of load. We have studied mechanics, right? It will resolve, right? The force gets resolved. The same thing happens. You are applying a tensile stress, but that force will get resolved. A shear stress will act on the atomic plane, right? And due to this acting of this shear stress, the bond will break. There is a bonding, continuous bonding, right? Where there will be breakage of bond. So one part will be free now. That part will attach to the next, but next one will be free, it will come out. And next part will attach to the next, and one part will be free. Always one part will be free and that will move. Suppose it will, this one is moving out at this part, right? So what will happen? Again what will happen? Again any bond may break and again the dislocation will come out. Slowly you can see there is a shear is happening and material is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. Right? It is okay? I'll show you videos, then the concept will be clear. This cannot be explained on board actually. And this mechanism is called exactly what? This is called slip mechanism. This is called slip. Slip mechanism. There is a slip. For example, I can give an example like you take deck of cards. You people play cards. I never played cards, but if you're playing cards anyways, so you can take cards. From the top you just push it. What will happen? This will be getting like this, right? So there is a slip. And slip never happens in all crystallographic planes or all crystallographic directions. If you remember, we have studied about direction in planes. So lot of planes and lot of directions are there. Like that's why I have given you to find out the closed plane and closed paired direction in FCC, closed paired plane and closed paired direction in BCC. closed packed plane and closed packed direction in HCP. You remember that? Anybody remember? In FCC the closed packed plane is 1 1 1 and direction is 1 1 0. Right? So you remember in FCC how to represent planes like this. Right? Direction. So these are the this is closed packed plane and closed packed directions. So in this plane only and in this direction only the slip will occur. Slip will not occur randomly in any planes. You can have an infinite number of planes, but slip will not occur. Right? Or that means dislocation will not move in all the planes. It will preferentially move in closed packed planes and closed packed directions. That means you can have a lot of planes and you have a lot of directions. So that particular direction should be also present in that plane. Then only it will move. Right? That means this direction must present in this plane. Then only the slip will occur or the dislocation will move. It will not move in random. So that's why closed packed planes. Can anybody tell me why in the closed packed planes atoms will move? Not in the open planes otherwise. Closed packed planes means what? We have also calculated linear density if you remember. Planar density. Why we are calculating that? We want to find out the density exactly. How atoms are closely packed in that direction. How atoms are closely packed in that plane. That means in all the planes, all the directions, atoms are not close to one another. Right? In some places they are far away. And in some places they are close. Similarly, in some direction atoms are far away and in some direction they are close. So that means where they are close, this slip is happening. Why? Just use your mind. No free atom. That means you can apply a little amount of energy. One atom will interact with another atom easily. But if they are far away, you have to apply more energy. So they will come close, then they will move. Right? Suppose 10 people are standing close to one another. Right? I will push it. So back person will push the front one, and front person will push the front one again. It can be easily moved. They can easily move. But if people are standing far away from one another, right? 10 people. You push one, you have to push more, you have to give more energy. Then only the last person will strike the front person and they will move, right? So that's why in the closed packed planes, in the closed packed direction, slip will always occur. That's why we are also calculating number of slip systems. More is the slip systems, more easily the slip will happen, basically. Right? Or plastic deformation will happen easily. Right? So okay, anyways. Slip mechanism. Okay, let me write one thing. You can write this is slip region. And this is unfilled. The previous diagram I have drawn, can you check it? Which region will be the slit and which region is unslit? The left region is slip region, just have a look. But the right region is unslit. Because in the right region, atomic plane are continuous. There is no breakage of atomic planes, right? But in the left region, there is a breakage of atomic planes. Right? Just have a look, you will get the answer. The left portion of the crystal is slipped one because the atomic bonding has broken down and half plane of atom is moving. But in the right side, you can see all atoms are continuous. There is no breakage. It is okay? Fine. So that's why I have written slip region and this one is unslip region. Right? What is this now? This is your dislocation line. If you want me to draw it again, let me draw it. Let's have a look. This is like these atomic planes are continuous. There is no breakage, no? Right? Initial position and final position are same, right? So this is unslipped. Unslipped region, right? This is unslipped region, but this region is slipped region. Because this was earlier here, and this was earlier here, and this was earlier here. You are getting my point? Just have a look again. This half atomic plane was earlier here, continuously with this one, and this half was initially here, and this half was initially here, right? But these atomic planes are continuous. There is no breakage. If you break it, then what will happen? This will move to this. This part will move to this. This part will move to this, and this part, and it will come out like this at the end. Yes or no? You understood my point? So that means that since there is no breakage of bond in this plane, so this is the unslipped region and this is the slip region. And you understand this is extra half plane of atom. What is dislocation line? This one is a dislocation line, right? Just have a look. This is your dislocation line. Unslipped, slipped, and this is the boundary. This is the boundary between unslipped and slipped region, right? So I am showing like this. So what is this? This plane is what? This plane is slip plane. The entire plane is slip plane, right? That means this one. Slip is happening in this plane. So this is a plane, right? This has to move on that plane, right? So this is a slip plane. I am showing slip plane. So this entire is a slip plane, right? Where slip is happening, right? And this is your dislocation line. This one, this extra half, right? And this is unslipped. And this is slip. You can write unslipped. So what is the definition of dislocation line? It is very easy. It is a boundary. Just have a look. It is a boundary between slip region and unslipped region. You can write it. So dislocation line is nothing but a boundary between slip and unslipped region. Very simple. This is your dislocation line. Okay. This is done. Now I will define the characteristics of dislocations, right? Characteristics are vectors. Characteristics vectors of dislocations. You know vector is what? Vector is a which quantity? I mean vector means it will show you magnitude and direction both, right? So similarly, to define a dislocations, you need some vectors. Those vectors will define the dislocations, right? Or nature of dislocations. So one is called, you can write, this is tangent vector, and one vector is the Burgers vector. So this is called Burgers vector. And this is called tangent. So these are the two vectors that will define the dislocations. This is also called, you can write, line vector. And this vector is a, okay, this is called also line vector. And this vector, you have to remember, this is a unit vector. This is the unit vector. But this is not a unit vector. May or may not be. May or may not be a unit. Okay, I will show you this one again. So this is called slip plane, right? So you have a slip plane means you have a dislocation line, I told. Dislocation line, right? And this region is called slip. And this region is unslip. Unslip region. Just imagine a extra half a plane atom is moving. That means dislocation line is also moving or not, right? The bottom part of the atom is called the dislocation line. So extra half a plane atom is moving means the dislocation line is actually moving, right? In the real situation, you cannot see a dislocation. You can see the line which will be moving. I'll show you the videos. I have very good videos. I will show you how plastic deformation is happening, how this dislocation line is moving. That can be seen through only transmission electron microscope. You need a very high resolution. You cannot see atoms. Can we see atoms? We can see atoms only by using high resolution transmission electron microscope. That is like 10 crores. The money you need 10 crores nearly to install it. Those are in IITs only. IITs, IIT Bangalore. Anyway. Okay, so what I mean to say is, yeah. So this is tangent vector, you can tell. So this is your tangent vector. So what is tangent vector? Just have a look. Tangent vector is tangent to the dislocation line, or it is parallel to the dislocation line. This is very simple, right? So tangent vector is parallel or tangent to the dislocation line, right? And what is Berger vector? Berger vector is like this. It is a vector. What I told, if it is a vector, it shows magnitude and direction. So direction means direction of the slip. Half extra plane of atom is moving. Slip is happening. So slip is happening in which direction? In our case, it is happening in this direction. So Berger vector is showing you the direction of the slip, and it also shows you the magnitude of the slip. Right? That means the extra half a plane has moved half atomic distance or full atomic distance. If it will move to the full atomic distance, what will happen? It will join to the new complete line, right? But if it will move to a half atomic distance, it will remain hanging, right? You understood my point? If the extra half of plane of atom is moving complete one magnitude or one atomic distance, it will join to the new line, but it will come out. You understand my point? New dislocation will come out, right? But if it will move a half atomic distance, it will remain as hanging. Yes or no? Right? So, for example, okay, let me show you if you are getting confused. Suppose okay, this one. So suppose this is the extra half of plane of atom and this is moving. This has to move here, right? Suppose this is the initial position and final position is this one. What it means? Only half atomic distance it has moved, right? So that this distance is the magnitude of the slip, right? So it will be shown by this one, Berger vector, and direction, this direction, right? So Berger vector will define the magnitude and direction of the slip. Suppose this one has to move in this direction, so direction will be Berger vector direction will be in this direction, right? And magnitude, suppose this is moving completely to this one, so this will be the magnitude, one atomic distance completely. It is okay, right? So these are the two vectors, tangent vector and Berger vector defines dislocation. Tangent vector is always parallel or tangent to the dislocation line, and Berger vector is showing you how much magnitude of slip is happening, and slip is happening in which direction. Left to right or right to left or anywhere, right? Okay. So now we'll move to next. That is, you can say dislocation types. You can write this now. Dislocation types. Types of dislocations. So how we can say which type of dislocation I have? on the basis of, you can write angular relationship. Angular relationship between tangent vector and buzzer vector. The angular relationship between tangent vector and buzzer vector will define which kind of dislocation is present in the material. Right? The angular relationship between T and D, tangent vector and buzzer vector will define which kind of dislocation we have. The first condition is, okay, let me erase this one. So I can have three situations. Just have a look. I can have three situations. The first situation is, the situation 1 is tangent vector will be perpendicular to the buzzer vector. So this is one condition, right? Tangent vector will be perpendicular to the buzzer vector. So if this is the condition, then dislocation is called edge dislocation. In the GATE examination, many times this kind of question is coming. In case of which dislocation? Line vector is perpendicular to buzzer vector. Answer is edge dislocations. Or in edge dislocation, what is the relationship between the line vector and buzzer vector? Because you should not be confused. The tangent vector is maximum called line vector also. Other name of tangent vector is called line vector. Right? So these kind of questions are already there in the GATE examination. So next condition, I will show you in the diagram also. Don't worry. Second condition may be tangent vector is parallel to the buzzer vector. And you understand, all these are nothing but tangent or parallel to the dislocation line always. Right? But slip may be in any direction. Or it will show you the magnitude and direction of the slip. Right? So if this will be the situation, it will be screw dislocation. I think you might have studied this one in 12th, maybe, I'm not sure about that. Thermodynamics. Okay. Oh, sir was talking about like B1 plus B2 is equal to B3. That concept? Whether the dislocation will split or not. Maybe. Free energy concept, I think, maybe. In the thermodynamics, how sir can teach those things? I don't know. PDF. Okay, anyway. So this is called screw, right? And the last one